Gosh, 8 years. 8 years.
8 years. Okay, we just celebrated last week. We just celebrated 8 years of marriage. How many years of dating? Because we're still dating.
I mean,
11, 12.
was I 15?
Yeah, you were 15. And I was 16. Now. Yeah. However many years that is.
13 years.
It's been 13 years.
Yeah.
And it might not sound like a lot, but you know, that's for how young we were, that's like more of a lot of our life. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it's a lot of our life.
It was a lot of our life.
I remember like being that young and like when we were getting married initially, like into the engagement phase, I was like, man.
Did you feel young? Because I didn't.
I kind of didn't. Yeah.
You didn't feel young?
I thought I was a man.
Yeah. I didn't feel young at all.
I'm stupid. And so, still am stupid. But I remember thinking like, whoa, watch, like when I'm 80, like we'll be like together for like 65, 70 years at that point, or 85, you know, like.
Wow. Imagine if we're 100. Like, that's pretty cool to think about.
It's kind of weird though.
It is weird, but it's pretty cool.
That's kind of life. Like that like it's like a tree. You've been combined together. You've been rooted and planted together for quite some time. And that was one of the most things, like it was like a prideful statement in my head. It was like, I get to say I've been that long, you know, like when I'm that old too. That's kind of how I thought of it, and I think it was pretty cool. I still think it is pretty cool too.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I'll ask you this later. Okay. Well, today's episode is
let's get into that.
A little more personal, I guess, than usual. We love talking about interest rates and buying and selling and all of that, but this is going to be just like a discussion, conversation. This is going to be one where, you know, we might never get to meet our great grandchildren, but they will get to hear from us. And that, like, how cool is that? How cool is that? They will get to hear about how we met. We got married at 19 and 20. And okay, here's the thing. So there's two reasons, well, maybe three, why this is the podcast episode that we're doing today. One reason, simply because the other day we were literally 2 days ago, we were actually on our wedding anniversary. Us and our five and a half year old daughter, we were driving through a little town outside of Salem, and we drove by a elementary school where Spencer went to school. I did not, but it was where I met him in 4th grade. And so we got to tell our daughter about that. Yeah. And so that's kind of what brought this to remembrance. And then two, we've had, I don't know about you, but I know I've had quite a few clients, like real estate clients over the years, and not clients, just in general, people making really negative comments about getting married young. But I've had a lot of clients ask questions or just make assumptions that I'm like, from someone who actually was in that boat, that's actually not what I found to be the experience, if that makes sense. So maybe we'll have some of those like common assumptions we can talk about as well. Yeah. And third, just because this is our podcast and we can talk about whatever we want and we want to make it fun, and we kind of want to be able to do like one real estate and then one that's just a little more like laid back, whatever we want to have a conversation about that day.
Get to know me.
Yeah. So, take it away.
Take it away. Wow. You really threw me on the spot there, right?
Because I had nothing planned.
Well, this is like a marriage talk, right?
I guess. We're married.
Okay. So while you were talking earlier, though, I had the thought come up across my head, as to why we're doing and talking on this subject is, here's the deal. Why not talk about marriage? Because if your marriage is not part of your business, then
it's so true.
I think there's somewhat of like an identity hidden in your life. And what's cool is Mariah and I get to do the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
And
we run a business together. So I guess that's another thing why this is relevant, because we're husband and wife real estate team.
Yeah. And so like from Mariah's perspective and Mariah's background, growing up, family was business. There wasn't really any other option or any other visual to look at. You know, in my life, it was bipolar opposite. It was don't work with family.
Yeah.
You know, like family will screw you, or your
mindsets.
feelings will get in front of things, and then you have turmoil the rest of your life. And it's like it doesn't have to do that and be like that. Now it's a choice, right? And everybody has a reason why it gets to certain points of disconnection, family matter wise. But Mariah and I feel like we're pretty unique. We got married young, and we were able to, I would say, quickly align with core values or just core beliefs that we just, had similar agreements on. Agreements? Yeah. Agreements on. And agreements on. Yes, thank you. And so like I felt like in the beginning though, that's what kind of made it more simpler and tangible to be around each other with. Like we had an understanding that we didn't necessarily even have to voice or speak about. It was more just like we have a partnership, and like whether it's friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, marriage, we've just known each other for so long. I feel like there's like even more understanding when you know somebody for a longer period of time.
That's true. I feel like something I hear often, a common misconception, this could go for marriage, but also just for having kids, that I hear just from talking and having conversations with like other girls my age, is that they want to wait to have kids or wait to get married or whatever that milestone is where it's like my life's starting now, which is so dumb because that's not even how it works. Like everyone's life's on a different timeline, and your life, I don't know. But that, the whole like settling down, I guess you could say, of having a child or getting married, they want to wait until they do this first. And like, I don't know. I just never really understood that. I never felt like getting married young, we were missing out. I feel like it was even better because we got to do those things together. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, oh, I want to like travel first. Like, we get to travel together. Or even having a kid, like, oh, I want to have a kid after I do all these traveling. Like, I would way rather travel with my kid. I don't want to go anywhere unless she's coming. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that mindset, I guess you could say. Like, life doesn't stop. It actually just gets better.
Well, I feel like people, they sometimes like categorize it like stages of life.
Yes.
In this stage, yes. In your 30s, you do this, 40s, 50s, so on.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but life doesn't work like that.
I don't think you necessarily, and that could just be a Western culture thing too.
Yeah, probably is.
Because we're just like sponged with all this like information and media, and it like shows you like what ages are doing these particular things, or the verbiages, or their job statuses at this time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is no time frame that you need to do particular things you're wanting to do in life.
No.
And just because you have for us like a daughter, for instance, doesn't mean like I shut down and stop doing certain things, and vice versa for Mariah. We have a mutual understanding of like, oh, and we ask each other and we talk, and I'm gonna be doing this, or I'll be here, or I need you here. Like there's demands too within a relationship, and part of us being married is being there for each other too. Yeah.
Okay, this is what came up as like common misconceptions people think about people who get married young, and I thought this one was interesting because I know for sure I've had clients who have met us both and found out, we work together, and then they find out how young we were when we got married, have made this comment of like, how have you not changed and grown apart? I think that's a very common misconception, is that you'll change and grow apart.
Well, I can tell you though, like now that we're approaching our 30s, is there has been, I would definitely suggest changes, like through each of us.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're not going to be the same person as when you're 20, but also when you're, if you get married at 30, you're not going to be the same person as when you're 50. Like you're always changing.
And I also reflect and remember about conversations you and I have had through the years, is like, it's so funny. We get to like watch each other as we've like changed. Like we've seen each other go through puberty. Like it's kind of like really weird when you put that type of reflection on it, because it really is true. We've witnessed, we've seen bad times, good times, all of the above. Yeah. And like it's very, and it comes back to that statement though, like that I made earlier. It's like, man, when you've been together for like 65, 70 years, when you're 85, 90, it's like, oh my goodness, like you've seen each other this whole period of time, and it's like this awesome timeline. So that whole like, oh, you're too young because you haven't witnessed what they will become, or what they're not even in adulthood and know what they'll be like in adult stages. Like, I'm sorry, but isn't that kind of a walk of life with each other. It's kind of the point, right?
Right. Like,
and
no matter.
And it's made to be hard.
Yes, it's made to be hard.
I think we have to, like, correct us to say, like, it is not all rainbows and unicorns here.
And
like,
I think that's a big issue in our society today. Not that I'm not a person giving marriage advice.
Yeah, hey, FYI,
this isn't about that.
Full disclosure, we are not marriage counselors.
No, and we're not trying to be. Okay, we're just sharing our own personal experience. Okay, that's it. Period. But what was I saying? You were saying something about
walking life.
Oh yes, no, it's hard. I feel like a big misconception with just like our generation, especially, is that they think that, like, oh, if it's hard, that means it's bad. Or that if it's hard, that means, or not necessarily bad, but like hard isn't the same thing as bad. We were just telling our daughter that yesterday because we went on a 5.5 mile hike together, and we were explaining to her, like, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's bad, or doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. And she got to learn that lesson, and it was awesome.
No gain.
Yes, she has been saying that a lot. But when I mean in marriage is, like, I feel like there's a really big misconception in our society, especially, again, like, as I talk to other young girls my age, especially, it's very, like, idealistic, like fairy tale, that, like, if you have to work at it, or if it's hard at all, or there's things to work through, then that's like a negative thing. But, like, I feel like we should have that expectation that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be hard, and there is gonna be hard things to work through, and you will grow. I mean, I hope, like, when people say, oh, how do you not, like, grow apart, change and grow apart? Well, hopefully you do change over time, but why? Hopefully you change in a good way. Like, shouldn't we all be growing in a good way? So, like, Spencer at 27, he's 27 now, is better than Spencer at 19 when I married him. You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't
know about that.
You don't think so? Well, I think so.
No, I believe it.
I like you better at 27 than
I'm a little bit more calm.
But just overall, like, you know what? Like, we're always growing, but hopefully it's in a good way. Like, who's going to be growing in a bad way? I guess some people do that, but, like, I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense. But
I've lived experiences.
Do you have any, like, misconceptions that you've heard that people have said to you when you told them how young you were and you got married?
I think a lot of it just comes down to, like, life experience. And, like, when you are older and you grow with knowledge, like, you get wrinkles, right? You get gray hairs. You've lived experience. You've lived a life. And if you're dumb enough when you're younger not to take that advice, I think you're stupid. I do. But you can't let that advice ultimately turn into fear and then rejection of your dream. And that's something that, like, I personally, and even Mariah, like, maybe had to go through, was, like, overcoming the objections that were maybe in a negative light, even though at the time it was supposed to be positive for the individual saying it. Now, 10 years later down the road, 8 years later in marriage to our 8th anniversary, do you hear any of those comments? No. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just gone because it's almost like you proved them wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So don't let, unless it's like a true thing of marriage and your relationship, which only you know. Yeah. Like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't do this. Yeah. We have some serious problems. Right. Like, you got to sometimes go with the gut too, is maybe what I'm saying. And not let the other outside opinions full on affect you and her's relationship. Because, I mean, at the end, this is your family. Yeah. And we got to come to that. And when there's events or things that are happening around us and we just don't want to go or be a part of it or just have involvement, we seriously talk about it, whether you like it or not, because what's best for where we're at now is important to us. And I've seen it go wrong both ways, though. Like, people, they've set such hard boundaries. Like, I'm like, dude, stop. Yeah.
Like, life is not linear, where I feel like we always think about life in, like you said earlier, in stages, where it's like, I have to do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. But it's like, that's not how life works. Like, that's not. Or it's like, or maybe that mindset of, like, living for retirement and then you'll travel. But it's like, why can't you just live now? You know what I mean? Like, let's just live our life now.
Yeah. No.
Why wait?
And let's live now. We could poke a lot of buttons, you know, because the cool thing is, I mean, that's just how we kind of naturally live our lifestyle. Now, do you live your lifestyle that way? Probably not, or maybe you do. Yeah. We are all entitled to our own opinions and right of that. That's why we live in the free America. It's amazing. Great place to be.
Where can people find us if they want to work with us?
Well, firstly, if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit the notification bell so you're notified weekly when a new video comes out. But ultimately, in the description below, you can always send us an email. That should be in the comments below. But also, find us on our website, www.vettruscrawfordrealty.com. That's Vettrus, Vettrus, CrawfordRealty.com. If you just put in a profile, we're going to get all your information with your full name, phone number, and email. You can even write a note, and you can start searching for homes right away or get a free property evaluation on your current existing home, no matter where you live. Yeah. So if that's something you want to do, find it below, but hit the notification bell.